Off-the-shelf boots and saddles, air cavalry in the 80s, my first foray into the assault game series. Okay, so we have a Soviet unit here. These units are platoons. So we have a T-64 platoon here in march formation because it's facing a hex side. Here we have another T-64 unit platoon in combat formation because it's facing the hex point or vertex there, and it's also in cover, and it's also in woods terrain. Back here I added a third platoon, also in combat formation because it's facing the hex vertex there. And now we're going to take a look at moving this unit up in combat formation. Okay, so I'm going to move this unit up in combat formation. Again, it has a movement allowance of 3. That's the number on the bottom right there. So the unit's going to go 1, 2, and 3. And that is all of its movement allowance. So note that in combat formation, it does not use any road costs because it's not using road movement. So it just pays 1 for each of these clear hexes, ignoring the road. So even though not used in the introductory scenario, let's still take a look at spotting. So first of all, I'm going to grab the first American platoon for the map, going on the map here. M1 platoon. So first of all, a unit that is face up is spotted. A unit that is flipped over with only the directional arrow showing is unspotted. So now we'll disregard that, and we'll just take a look at how units, how you figure out what unit can see what other unit. First of all, the basics. A unit remains, I guess I'll back up to the basics. So out in the open, a unit remains unspotted until spotted when it's flipped over, and it remains spotted until the end of a movement phase in which no enemy unit has unblocked line of sight to it. So if it ended a movement phase back here, then it would go to unspotted again. All right, basics. So first, line of sight itself. I'm going to consider line of sight between this unit, these two Soviet units, but not this one, and the American unit here. So first of all, a line from these two hexes to this one and back and forth. There's obviously nothing in the way. There's nothing that blocks the line of sight. So now so line of sight is clear. Now it's just a matter of actual spotting. Okay, considering the actual procedure for spotting, 5 elements determine the likelihood of a successful spotting attempt. The range, number of hexes between the unit attempting to spot and the unit attempting to be spotted. Target type, so these are all vehicle units in this case. Terrain, target status. So let's consider this Soviet tank platoon and this American tank platoon. Again, range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Target type, so the Soviets are trying to spot the Americans. Target type is a vehicle platoon or tank platoon. Terrain, it is in this suburban terrain there. Target status and spotter status. These elements are all covered on the spotting tables. Okay, so here are all the spotting tables. First of all, the range determines the basic die roll required to spot the target. So base roll, range, we said 7 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 to 8 hexes, base is 6. So the base roll is a 6. Okay, the terrain the target unit is in modifies the basic roll. So here we have terrain table. Again, the Americans are in an urban strip. That's urban strip. I know that because I looked on the terrain key, and there's urban strip. Okay, so the Americans are in an urban strip right there, and this is an AFV target type. So we go no effect. Okay, if there are two numbers separated by if there are two numbers separated by a dash, the first is if the target unit is not in cover, and the second one is if the unit is in cover. So if the tank unit here was not in cover, which it is not in cover, it's auto spotted. And if it were in cover, it'd be no effect, no modification to the base roll. So let's go ahead and make the American tank platoon in cover. So now the tank platoon is in cover in an urban strip. So we go no effect. Okay, so then down here let's go down to target status. If the target has moved or fired, it would increase. These are changes, modifiers to the base die roll. So obviously it would be easier to see a moving unit and even easier to see a firing unit. We'll say neither of these apply here. We'll say that the American tanks are just sitting in cover in the urban strip. The spotter status in AFV has a bit harder chance spotting, -2. Recon has better, all others even. So it is an AFV. So we're going to subtract 2 from our base 6. So we're down to 4 or less. So yeah, I think I did that right. So it would be 4 or less. So 40% chance. Oh, they roll a 1. So they would spot the American tank there. Now, vice versa, the Soviet tanks are in the open there. So you would think that there would be no chance that this would be an auto spot. There it is. It's not in cover, it's in clear, it's vehicle, it's auto spotted. And also auto spot ranges table, you can use that too. AFV in the clear, not in cover is max. So max unobstructed. This is unobstructed line of sight or maximum spotting ranges. Values on this table are the maximum distance at which it is possible to spot a unit. Max equals the maximum line of sight distance from the line of sight table. Okay. Okay, let's get to some direct fire. Basic, to wrap up spotting, it's definitely not the simplest system, but one, it makes sense, and two, you should have some variability in spotting, in my opinion. So I'm perfectly comfortable, but it is table lookups. Sometimes you're rolling for either spotting or not spotting. Okay, let's follow this up. The Soviet tank platoon there attempted to spot the Americans in the urban strip there in cover, and they rolled a 1, and so they did spot them. So let's follow up with some direct fire.